back to your local news. Next up, we have an interview with the exclusive specialist Addison Goggin on the Black Power movement. Hello, Addison. Thank you for joining us today. I hear you specialized on the Black Power movement. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in today and talk about all that I've learned and studied about this movement.
Of course. My first question to you is who participated in the Black Power movement?
There are actually multiple answers to that question. But to start off, Malcolm X was said to have been one of the most powerful leaders. He was an African American leader who also participated in the civil rights movement, and he was a vocal spokesperson for the Nation of Islam. Next, you have Stokely Carmichael. He was a civil rights activist, and he was the one who originated the slogan Black Power, which is the basis for the movement. He was a freedom rider in 1961, and he was part of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Next, we have Bobby Seale. He was an American political activist. He preached for black empowerment, and he was inspired after hearing a speech by Malcolm X. And he worked with the Black Panther Party, which had a major focus on economic equality for their political platform. Often, this movement was encouraged in young adults and anyone who could participate.
You mentioned the Black Panther Party. I haven't heard of that before. What was that, and who was it run by?
That's totally fine. I didn't know much about the Black Panther Party until I started studying the Black Power movement. So, to summarize it, the Black Panther Party was originally the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, which is a black political organization. And this was founded by Bobby Seale, who I spoke about earlier, and he was one of the main founders of the Black Power movement, if that helps clears anything up.
Wow, that's truly amazing how Malcolm X was able to inspire so many people to participate in this movement. But what really was the Black Power movement?
The Black Power movement was a social movement that emphasized racial pride for African Americans because they wanted economic empowerment. They also wanted a decrease in police brutality, which was very common during the time of this. This movement also occurred in the 1960s and the 1970s, specifically in Washington, D.C., and many other big states. And lastly, African Americans wanted an economic sense of equality. They wanted to be treated equally.
It is truly awful what these people had to experience and all the hardships they had to face to get to the point where they are today. So, how did the Black Power movement end, or what is still going on with it? And what were its main goals, and why were people so focused on this?
African Americans have been treated awfully in our country, and I don't know that that's something that will ever be able to be made an amends. But the goal of the Black Power movement was a desire of safety for African Americans, especially from police brutality, and a sense of self-sufficiency that was not available at the time. But the Black Power movement came to an end around 1960-1970, which meant it wasn't as long of a standing movement, but now we have things similar to that are trying to support African Americans in this day and age that came based off of some of the core ideas from the Black Power. Adding on to that, I do think the movement was as effective as it could be at the time, and I think we have advanced in many ways since then, but there's still always ways to improve.
My final question for you is what came out of the Black Power movement, and what has it done for us today?
I actually get asked that question a lot. I would say that the Black Power movement helped to continue the desegregation of African Americans. And in terms of 2020, I think that many movements that we are participating in now have been based off of the Black Power movement, and the Black Power movement has helped to shape in many ideas and forms of protesting.
Well, thank you, Addison, for coming in and joining us today. Your insight was greatly helpful in teaching us and our viewers about the Black Power movement. See you next time!